right? If you're tired of hearing how good Duke is, I'm not going to say they're not good. I'm not going to say that they're not the best team in the ACC. But I will say they're not as good as they played last night versus Miami. Miami is a bad team and had bad luck. They caught a buzzsaw version of Duke. That it happens in sports, right? Occasionally you play above your ability level. That's how upsets happen, right? When the lesser of two teams has one of those days and they play above their ability level and they beat the better team, hey, everybody loves it. But occasionally the opposite happens. Occasionally a team is favored by 25 and the team that is seen as better plays above their ability level, and it ends up being a game like last night. Final score, 89-54, and it didn't feel that close. 89-54, and I think it could have been worse. Duke shot over 50% from three. 53.1% from three. That's 17 makes on 32 attempts. If that, Miami, what are they going to do with that? What you just watched 42 being scored. I'm sure they watched that tape a whole bunch, right? Cooper Flagg, 42 against Notre Dame. How do we stop him? He was cooking in the mid-range. He was getting to the free throw line. He was drawing contact. Okay, cool. Pack it in. Don't let him beat us that way. They're shooting 53% from three. That's tough. And by the way, it wasn't necessarily Cooper. Con Knipple, 6 of 8. Mason Gillis off the bench, 4 of 6. Caleb Foster, granted one of them was very at the end as the walk-on got the assist, 2 of 3. But the shooters, they kept shooting and they kept hitting them. So Duke is very good. They're not as good as they were last night. But you don't give back wins. Like, we usually don't make that percentage of three, so that 35-point win, we'll only count it as a 24-point win. You don't do that, right? The results are what the results are. What I love the most, if I'm a Duke fan watching these last couple of games, there was a closer than it should have been win over Notre Dame, and there was a larger than maybe it should have been win over Miami, is we actually said this stat on air, so you can go back and find the receipts. There was a 10-game streak where Cooper Flagg led or co-led points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. It was one of 4 times, there were 4 previous, so it was the 5th time in NCAA history at that level that a player on a 10-game win streak led or co-led in all 5 stats in every game. Well, guess what? Since we said that stat, Kaman Malawash has led the team in rebounds each of the last 2 games, more than Cooper Flagg. Con Knipple against Miami led the team in scoring, 25, more than Cooper Flagg. The thing that was most potentially worrisome for Duke was it did feel like at times they depended a little too much on Cooper Flagg, and rightfully so. It's convenient. Right, it's like having the one kid who hit his growth spurt early in middle school basketball. Like, he's 6'4", everyone else is 5'4" and weak. Yeah, occasionally when we need a bucket, we just go down low. Cooper Flagg is the future number 1 pick, so it was convenient for them to just lean on him. Other guys are starting to, and maybe it's because of the quality of opponent. Let's not pretend like Notre Dame and Miami are, the Spurs and Lakers. Let's not pretend. But it is, I believe, comforting. That might be the right term. Comforting that other players are able to do what they do. Con Knipple, he's a shooter. He's a shooter. Remember the first game?
Against Maine?
Yeah.
Like 18 points?
Feels so long ago, right?
A minute.
College basketball, we used to go, remember his freshman year? And that was like how far he's come. Now it's like, hey, remember 2 months ago? Knipple hit a 3, but he also hit one where the arms came out before the bucket hit the net, and it was like, wow, this kid's a shooter. Look at the confidence. Oh my, what is he going to do for spacing for everybody else? Then he hit a shooting slump, and we talked about it. He's 5-star from Wisconsin, right? Is projected to be a lottery pick. It might be, and I don't say this like jokingly, the first time he had like a real in-game shooting slump. Not saying he didn't have bad shooting games on like the AAU circuit, but a multiple kind of people start saying, aren't you the shooter? Like, that might have been the first time in his life that happened on any kind of, large scale. Well, over the last 4 games, he's 50% from 3. And he's starting to heat up as far as scoring the basketball. And that is A, good patience, B, self-confidence, right? Didn't waver. It's confidence from the coaching staff. Because there were points where Con Knippel was not shooting it great, and Isaiah Evans was coming off the bench and hitting like 2 threes in 4 minutes and then going back to the bench every game. And Jon Scheyer did not go, all right, he'll be the spacer now, right? You go figure out your shot. He's going to be the guy knocking down jumpers. There's a lot to like about the rest of the cast. I hate calling it a supporting cast because, they're like, the 13th best recruit in the country is now just some a guy like sign holder tree number 2 on the school playlist. Like, you get to be spear carrier. No, these guys are some of the top recruits, best players in the country. Common Malawash over the last 2 games, 2 double-doubles, 2 first career. 2 double-doubles, right? He's starting to put together how he can be effective, even though the 15 rebounds against Miami, I think like 8 of them, Miami didn't even try for. They were just like, all right, we'll get back on defense. We're down by 20. And he just uncontested rebounds. But, hey, 15 rebounds for 15 rebounds. We don't do that for everybody else. Like, as Malawash develops, as Knippel develops, Isaiah Evans is getting more of a secure role. We saw Patrick Gumba for the first time really getting extended minutes yesterday. I don't know if that'll work into the rotation, but with Malik Brown out, he ended up playing more than he normally does, and that can only help a player's development. And on that path, we have Jon Scheyer talking about the players stepping up for Malik Brown in his absence.
It's just an opportunity to find something. And for Pat, we have such belief in Pat as a player. Pat has not been afforded the time that most freshmen have had based on his injury. And so he's still, I thought he gave us some really good minutes. He's still working through stuff, and I thought he just gave us a big lift. Thought he played really good defense for him to get these minutes. Like, he'll take another jump the next game. We weren't able to look at the lineup with Gillis, with Mason and Cooper together much, but Mason, played the 5-some for us, which I thought was a good look. And then obviously just everybody else stepping up. We need them to be ready.
Stepping up. That was, to me, the story going into the game. Was how they were going to handle the Malik Brown absence. Where were those minutes going to go? Would they experiment with the lineup? Gumbo was the guy that kind of got the most of those opportunities, and I think he did solid. Which is, hey, don't go in there trying to reinvent the wheel. It was all right. And then, of course, the story became, oh, they're shooting the lights out. This is going to be over fast. To be completely honest, right? Because I always say I watch every game I talk about. I didn't watch the first couple minutes of this one. I was putting my son down, had some stuff to do, ended up coming downstairs and turning on the game. I think it was 9-8 Duke. And I went, whoa, look at Miami. All right, maybe this won't be a blowout like I thought it was.
And then they score 12 straight.
Sit down, settle in, right? Go get the computer, grab a glass of water, sit back down. Never mind. It is exactly the game I thought it was going to be. It really was that quick, and it was because guys like Knippel were knocking down threes, and when that happens, it just opens up everything. Jon Scheyer talked about the offense and when it is at its best.
We've, found out how good we can be when we share it, and I think our guys have fell in love with that, and we continue to do it. Cooper's passing, I thought was terrific. He also had some plays where he knows he needs to be stronger and tighter and all that, but I think he's a big reason. But I thought really all our guys, like, even though it doesn't translate to assists, like Tyrese had 2 assists, I thought he had a lot more passes that led to something good. And so that's something we try to emphasize. It's not just the assists, it's just making the right basketball play.
I thought, and this is where I get kind of wishy-washy and romanticize the game. I thought it was kind of appropriate. I guess Hubbard, their walk-on off the bench, is kind of a crowd favorite. I just watching the game, you got that vibe. When they blow teams out and he gets in home games, crowd goes nuts. Every time I've been around a college basketball team, when the crowd favorite walk-ons get in, there's one chant, there's one thing, shoot it, Shoot it right. They want him to score. Hubbard drove to the bucket and drew the defense, kicked it out for an open three. I'm going like, this guy, this offense right now against Miami, like I said, they were playing better than even I think they are. They're in such a rhythm that the walk-on, they're supposed to come in and just jack up shots. Like, that's your role. Knock down a three, get the crowd into it at the end of the shot clock. Made the right basketball play and got a three for one of the only returners in Caleb Foster. Everything was going Duke's way. Sorry, Miami. You're now 4-13 and right at the dead bottom of the ACC.